Do you have a bucket list?
Yeah, do you? You're too young for a bucket list. I have a bucket list. I truly would like to go to the Galapagos Islands. I think that would be fun. I would love to go back to Russia, and I will not do any more plastic surgery below the neck. Below the neck.
Joan Rivers has passed away at the age of 81. She went in for a routine procedure. She was having a surgery on her vocal cords.
And I will not do any more plastic surgery below the neck.
And then there were complications, so as a result, she was transferred to a different hospital where she was in a medically induced coma.
You're not afraid of death and getting older?
Well, too late about getting older. I mean, my bucket list, #1 is wake up.
So as a result, she was transferred to a different hospital where she was in a medically induced coma.
I mean, my bucket list, #1 is wake up. Hi, Tara.
Oh, hi, Joan.
What's up?
Well, you didn't respond to me, or Anne Hathaway, or Sarah Jessica Parker for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. So I thought I'd come here and do it myself.
Okay, fine, whatever. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. Okay, now give me Anne Hathaway. Let's just get the whole damn thing over with.
There you go.
Anne Hathaway, fine. Who's next? Who's next?
Sarah Jessica Parker,
Sarah
this is for you.
Fine. Okay, you all happy?
Joan.
Everybody happy? Security! Security!
Love you, Joan.
I've been challenged by several Americans to bring awareness to the ALS campaign. Woody Johnson, our daughter Jenna Bush Hager, Coach Jim Harbaugh, and recently Rory McIlroy. To you all who've challenged me, I do not think it's presidential for me to be splashed with ice water, so I'm simply going to write you a check.
That check is for me. I don't want to ruin my hairstyle.
Now it's my privilege to challenge my friend Bill Clinton to the ALS challenge. Yesterday was Bill's birthday, and my gift to Bill is a bucket of cold water.
The two leaders with me today will ensure that this is matched by a historic effort that extends beyond our government, because America has no greater resource than the strength and the compassion of the American people. We just met in the Oval Office, an office they both know well. And I'm pleased that President George W. Bush and President Bill Clinton have agreed to lead a major fundraising effort for relief.
My friend Bill Clinton.
The Clinton-Bush Haiti Fund. On behalf of the American people, I want to thank both of you for returning to service and leading this urgent mission.
Most effective way for Americans to help the people of Haiti is to contribute money. That money will go to organizations on the ground, and it'll be who will be able to effectively spend it. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash. So I'm simply going to write you a check. One of the things that President and I will do is to make sure your money is spent wisely.
We've been nominated for the Rice Bucket Challenge.
By our dad and Noah.
Yeah, by our dad and Noah.
And so now we nominate Wayne, Katie,
And Alec Holden.
All right, let's do this thing.
Here we go.
A Desi version of the Ice Bucket Challenge. That is what Hyderabad-based Manjulata Kalanidhi came up with, calling it the Rice Bucket Challenge, asking people to donate a bucket of rice to the needy and post the picture online.
I donated something to a person I knew, and I put up the photograph, and I think it just started like a tsunami. I didn't know, it just swelled in about a couple of hours. I think people liked, commented, shared, and that's when I knew, I think, something big was happening. To borrow Shah Rukh Khan's quote from Chennai Express, do not underestimate the power of social media.
Coach Jim Harbaugh.
All right, well, another storyline leading up to the big game. For the first time, two brothers are coaching against each other in the Super Bowl, or the Bro Bowl.
Har Bowl, some of them are calling it. Ever since Cain and Abel's sibling rivalry has made for good drama, on Friday, Jim and John Harbaugh went face-to-face in a rare pregame dual news conference, and ABC's Chris Connolly decides who won.
It's the second shocking video to surface. TMZ releasing this tape of Baltimore Ravens player Ray Rice brutally knocking out his then fiancée Janae Palmer, dragging her limp body from an Atlantic City casino elevator this February. The Ravens say they only saw the disturbing video shot from inside the elevator on Monday, and after viewing it, had no choice but to drop Rice from the team.
We had a chance, after seeing something this morning, seeing the video this morning, we had a chance to get together with Steve, Dick, Ozzy, and myself, and we had a meeting. It was not a long meeting. We came to the decision that we came to release Ray, and that's what we did, so you know that.
As their teams prepare to face each other in Sunday's Super Bowl, brothers John and Jim Harbaugh, head coaches of the Ravens and 49ers respectively,
defensive tackle Ray McDonald of the NFL San Francisco 49ers is free on bail. McDonald was arrested early Sunday in San Jose, California on a felony domestic violence charge. The arrest comes less than a week after the NFL announced tougher penalties for players accused of domestic violence.
It's one of those things that's such an ugly thing, and it's such an ugly problem that keeps happening. You want to be
Okay,
severe.
now what about that? Okay, right there. I mean, let me just put the question out there. Exactly what the hell is going on here? I mean, the policy comes down, and within 1 week's time, we're looking at somebody else who might be guilty thereof. So, is it a league problem? Is it a societal problem? Or is this a Niner problem?
It's definitely a league problem, and I think it probably stems from the violence of the game. You know, some of the guys that, that really have come from probably hardscrabble backgrounds. But you got to look at the Niners too, and I think they're looking at themselves because you don't have a culture problem until you have a culture problem, and that's 10 arrests. They've got their other starting defensive end out for 9 games. Harbaugh's got he talked about it today. It was candid, but this isn't good.
I mean, this guy rules with an iron fist, or does he? I mean, is this getting away from Harbaugh?
Coach Jim Harbaugh.
I think you touched on it when you said societal. I mean, I think that from the age of, as soon as you're really good at something, especially in sports, you start to get pampered and you start to get advantages that other people don't have. I think that by the time you've had 10, 15 years of that and you get to the point where you're a professional and now you're making a ton of money, it's systemic. I think that they don't feel consequences. So 6 games or whatever, in that situation, he's clearly not thinking consequences because if he was, he wouldn't have done it.
In other words, the reason guys act above the law is because often they are above the law.
Ultimately, though, I mean, Dr. Rice or Secretary Rumsfeld or Vice President Cheney or all of them singing as a barbershop trio could sit there and say, yes, we signed and we conveyed all kinds of authorizations regarding waterboarding. Does it matter at all if they have been put above the law by the subsequent president and the subsequent Congress?
Football started for me as a way to be with my father. My dad was a football coach when I was born. I was supposed to be his All-American linebacker, so he taught me about the sport instead. So my father and I would go out into the front yard, known as the Rice Bowl, where we would play football together, just the two of us running around and playing kind of tag football. He wanted me to be an athlete. I knew that, and I actually did become a competitive figure skater, later on a tennis player. But my first love was always watching the NFL.
Friday, Pro Football Talk reports the Browns approached the Niners about getting Harbaugh from them in a trade.
I became a huge Browns fan because watching the NFL every Sunday, we got the Cleveland Browns on television every week.
Paul Brown addresses the squad. He outlines his hopes and ambition.
And I think it was because Paul Brown was the coach and Jim Brown was the sensation.
Jim Brown continues to put on a running show as only he can.
Lou the Toe Groza. I'll never forget learning about Lou the Toe Groza, who of course was without toes on his kicking foot.
Lou Groza shows that he's just as reliable as ever.
I'm still a great believer that the Browns are certainly going to be better than they were last year, and I won't quite yet advocate that we're going to make the playoffs, but I'd just be happy to win the next game.
The Gatorade shower, also known as the Gatorade dunk and the Gatorade bath, is an American sports tradition that involves dumping a cooler full of liquid over a coach's head following a meaningful win, such as the Super Bowl.
You like getting those Gatorade baths. I didn't care if it was orange, green. I love all the Gatorade.
It's kind of a badge of merit if you've never had a Gatorade bath. Probably did nothing very exceptional.
I'm Roger Goodell.
For the sake of the NFL, and more importantly, for the sake of those women and all others and all of us in a country in which this is so much more than a mere sports league, it is necessary, Mr. Goodell, for you to now resign as its commissioner.
I'm Meg Whitman. My three challengees, the people who I would like to next do this challenge, are my dear and good friend Condoleezza Rice.
So who could replace Goodell? Because one thought is Condoleezza Rice.
I'd just be happy to win the next game. Well, it's an easy call that I would love to be NFL commissioner. We'll get good presidents of the United States. I just want to make sure that the NFL is well taken care of. But I did tell my good friend Roger Goodell.
I'm Roger Goodell.
That he's a great commissioner, and I really wanted to be NFL commissioner when I was worrying about the Russians and the Iranians every day.
Do not underestimate the power of social media.
Beverly Gooden. She saw herself in Janae Rice, and she created the hashtag #WhyIStayed. She was wanting to raise awareness and answer that very question, and almost did this without thinking.
Ice water!
Great. See you later. Oh! Why would you do that?
Well, duh. Everybody's doing it.
To themselves. Everyone's doing it to themselves.
I'm confused. Why would anybody prank themselves?
Just started, and the ball was rolling from there. It's now a viral campaign.
Are you ready for some domestic violence with your football? Well, get your game face on, because social media is crying foul on the National Football League and its commissioner, Roger Goodell.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York has a book coming out.
In her new book, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand writes a call to action for women across the country to literally get off the sidelines.
Calls for Goodell to resign have appeared in the skies over football stadiums thanks to women's rights group Ultraviolet.
Do not underestimate the power of social media.
If it isn't Goodell leading the charge, who would you want to see instead? Because there have been some rumors that perhaps Condoleezza Rice even.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York has a book coming out.
Could be a name for the NFL commissioner. Would you want to see Condi as the NFL commissioner?
I think she would be an extraordinary choice. She's a role model and she's smart. She loves the sport. She performed extremely well as Secretary of State. So, I think she's a very smart, qualified woman who probably could make a huge difference in the NFL.
She joked once that it would be her dream job.
I saw that.
Which is it?
Yeah. So, but to the book.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York has a book coming out.
The NFL's response to the Ray Rice incident came right out of the 1950s, out of an episode of Mad Men.
And so there seems to be this institutional bias. We're stuck in the Mad Men era.
I'd just be happy to win the next game.
Oh, Condi, Condi, begging on my knees, open up your heart and let me want you, please. Got no money, but everybody knows I love you, Condi, and I'll never let you go. Sweet and dandy, pretty as can be, you be the flower, I be the bumblebee. Oh, she loved me, oops, she loved me not. People say you're cold, but I think you're hot. Condi, Condi, oh, Condi, Condi. Oh, Condi, Condi, oh, Condi, Condi. Oh, Condi, Condi, I'm talking to you, girl. Was it gonna hurt? Come on, give me your world. Shake your body and let me see you go. One time for me, oh, Condi, I love you. So skank for me, Condi. Show me what you got. They say you're too uptight. I say you're not. Dance around me, spinning like a top. Oh, Condi, 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 don't ever stop. Come on. Oh, Condi, Condi, oh, Condi, Condi. Oh, Condi, Condi, oh.